Hello and welcome to the Open Mic Podcast, the official podcast of the Open Mic app, coming soon to an app store near you. But in the meantime, let's hear from the artists.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first Open Mic Podcast. We've been doing our thing for about 2.5 years now on Instagram. We've built up a following of over 20,000 followers. A lot of hard work, a lot of artists got exposure that might not have otherwise have gotten it. So really happy about that. And first on our show, we have an artist that's pretty close to me. It's fitting that we have him on for our first episode because I'm very in touch with his music career, having known him for about 5-6 years now. So ladies and gentlemen, this is Chaz Ultra. Chaz, tell the people how you're doing.
I'm good, man. I just want to say thank you to my man De Niro for putting me on this and for doing the whole open mic thing, because honestly I've been watching him do that shit for a long time too, and I really appreciate his work ethic and his ability to gain such an organic following over time. Because I know he's passionate not only about the tech side and the business side, but he really is somebody who loves the music. Like he said, he's known me for a long time. We met like a long time ago, you know what I mean? And I remember this time that De Niro, he wanted to manage me at first. He's been a businessman the whole time, I'll have everybody know. But he handed me a contract and I denied it.
Crazy.
Unfortunately, I didn't sign it. I was
very,
like, no.
very rightfully so. Like, keep in mind that I was a 14-year-old kid in high school. I was not set to be anyone's manager at the time.
But either way, though, you got to respect the grind and the ambition, and that's something that I know that that Andrew has, no matter what. And it's nonstop. He's still. I think he's gonna be a billionaire one day. You know what I mean? I really believe that.
Just goes to show that interest in music and promoting artists have always been there.
Yeah, and that's kind of an interesting thing too, because I feel like a lot of like the tech companies that have like come out are usually like, they're kind of like the CEOs and the people who created them are kind of like geeks. We need to have some more people who are kind of you got like the tech people and then like the creative artist people, and we need to have people that are kind of like more both of them, and that's why I think that Andrew totally.
Let's combine the two.
Yeah.
So the topic of the day is what it truly means to dedicate yourself to your art. Because to your craft, really, because there's a lot of artists out there that are doing this as a hobby, but what does it truly mean to dedicate yourself to your craft? Now, I think you're probably one of the best people I know to speak to this.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that, and I tell people all the time, like, if anybody is gonna remember me for anything in particular, I want them to walk away, whether they like me or they hate me. And I've had both. I've had people with, that have great accord with me and people that fear me. I've had everything in between too. But if anybody walks away learning one thing from me, I want them to know that I am 150% dedicated to what I do. And that's what I love to do. That's not something that I do because I'm trying to work so hard to make money or get famous or get attention or anything like that. No, I really do this because this is who I am. This is what I am supposed. It's my destiny. I really believe that. I really believe that people are here for something, and this is definitely what I'm here for: is to be a music artist and to give my whole being to creating life-changing works. And that's really the biggest. That's the biggest thing.
Right. I do want to put on the record that it's okay to have music be your hobby. That's what some people do. A lot of the artists I met, like in their spare time, they might have another gig that they do for their career and they make music in their spare time. But really what we're talking about right now is the grind that it takes to dedicate yourself to making music, trying to grow a following, and make music as large a part of your life as possible. And what I've seen from you over the last since I've known you, I guess 5 or 6 years now, is that you're really all about trying to grow a following, having the next single or the next album you release be the one that get so many eyes on it. So can you like walk me through the process of what goes through your mind when you're creating an album and you're trying to create a piece of artwork that reaches the masses, essentially, that reaches as many people as possible?
Mm. Yeah, that's really interesting, because the way that I'll answer that is that, speaking on the whole subject of dedication to the music and stuff, there was a long time when I really did focus on like putting out specific albums, and it was like, almost like I was putting energy into creating a real body of work and focusing on what those songs were going to be, how it was going to play.
Right.
And I still have love for that, the art form of a body of work and things like that. But my dedication for the music is getting even like more serious, in the sense that I'm really not even working on an album anymore. I'm just working. You know what I mean? I'm really just making song after song. I don't know where it's gonna go. To be honest, in the past couple of years, I haven't dropped too much music. Like, I usually am always dropping the next thing. I'm always ready to release music. But I think you'll hear about a lot of artists. Like they almost sometimes they rush. They sometimes rush to release their music because they're so excited about it. They love what they're doing so much, or whatever they've created. So they're just like so excited to get it out there and get it to people like ASAP, so they can get the attention for it or whatever it is. But I think, as far as I'm concerned, considering the skill level that I'm at, releasing music is not so much my concern as making the next track and making a doper track next time. You know what I mean? I think that when it comes time to release an album, for me personally, that's going to make sense. It's going to be a whole process of different moving parts and different people, as if it's like, you know, a whole company working towards it. But for me right now, my role is the actual artist. So I'm here to just make my product the best thing possible. And I mean, that being said, go online, search Chaz Ultra. It's 100% certified bangers, like 100% bangers. So there really isn't any shortage, in case you're wondering, you know, what I'm doing and what I sound like. But right now, I'm sitting on a lot of unreleased music, because I'm waiting for I'm waiting for the world to tell me to release it, if that makes sense. I'm waiting for somebody else to release it almost for me, because I kind of don't really care. To me, I'm so dedicated that I'm really just in the studio. I mean, dedication, I'm in the studio right now. You know, you're talking about dedication. I'm in the studio right now. That's what it is, you know?
I think what's unique about your situation is, I mean, I've seen this in a couple other artists. Really, the artist that's like a traveling nomad. You know, you go from city and find what resources are there, and find what people are there that you can link up with that can further your career. And I know you've you know, you've went from CT to Denver to LA, to other various states out west, just to see what's going on there. And you know, another artist I can compare that to that's big in hip hop is Travis Scott. You know, I know that's he went out to Texas. He's doing his thing in Austin. He went out to LA, and I think that's a really great move for an artist, because it not only grows you as an artist from the things that you see in those states, but it gives you a network that really it allows you to get onto that platform that you need to get on to get you to the next level. So what has it been like, just going from state to state and finding what you could do there?
Well, I mean, the thing that I have to say is, like, I feel like, I mean, well, you know exactly what you're talking. You're about to move to Boston. You know what I mean? So that's going to be something that really, you're absolutely right. It's going to, you know, it's going to make you grow as a person. You're going to see a different perspective on the world. You know what I mean? You're going to see a different perspective on, you know, you come from one place, but how can you really know, like, you know, the truth about your own ideas and ideals and stuff like that, unless you have a you know, a different perspective. Kind of like, you know, you find like you can find an angle by getting two different points and seeing the distance between them to get the right angle. You know what I'm saying? Triangulation or whatever that is. But
and if you stay in the same place for too long, it's like you can become underground in a way. You know, you just become part of that environment instead of moving to a platform where a lot more people can see you.
Right. Well, and I think that's definitely something that's true. And I think that, moving to different states and stuff like that has definitely made me meet a lot more people than I would have met otherwise. If I were to just stay where I'm from is Connecticut. And I'm definitely a unique scenario because a lot of like rappers and a lot of artists, that sometimes they get popular because they're like almost like popular in high school or in their hood or whatever. And that kind of makes a natural transition into their social media popularity that then brings them to being a popular artist. For me, I never had that. I was not popular in high school. I was not from a town. I didn't have a hood that was all behind me, representing at least watching what I do. Not saying that people don't have talent when they have this stuff, but I just have been a very kind of unique individual in the sense that I've been kind of a lone wolf doing this thing. So moving around was almost just an attempt to try to like fit in, essentially. I'm trying to find, by moving around, I was trying to find the right people, and all of that ultimately made me realize that the right people were around me the whole time. It's really people like this man I'm talking to right now. And also like my brother, for example, Nick Freeman, works at Universal Music. He's doing amazing things. And
Nick Freeman.
I've had a lot. What's that?
Shout out Nick Freeman.
Yeah, shout out Nick Freeman. Exactly. I was just talking to him, but yeah, no, he's great. He lives in New York City, so I've lived in Atlanta for a little while. I made a lot of headway there. I worked with a lot of big people. I work with like he's a super producer now. Wheezy produced Gunna, Young Thug, all of that stuff. He was somebody that I worked with. I worked with like FKI, with some other rappers down there. I could go on, but
right, yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought that up actually, because I know you don't like to listen to a lot of other hip hop artists, but can you speak to a second about a lot of artists that try to buy beats to put themselves on, and really essentially what that means for their career? Do you think that's a good method to really to buy beats or to buy features? Do you think that could further an artist's career in hip hop?
Yeah, definitely. I think it can. I think the only difference between an artist who's not on and an artist that is on is either some sort of organic following that kind of just happens of itself, you know what I mean? Or money, literally money. Like, because at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, you could buy a beat. I mean, I'll just, give some honesty. If you buy a beat from a producer, make sure you get in the studio with them. You know what I mean? Get in the studio, go to their house, go buy the beat in person, make sure that you're near them. Like, make sure that you can get a picture with them, that type of thing, because that's going to go way further than just if someone sends you a beat over the internet. Because sometimes if you're working with a big enough producer, they're going to be sending the same beat to like a bunch of different unknown rappers, just making some quick cash on that. And if you're like an unsuspected, the industry does a lot of the time prey on those who are hungry and they really want it and they want to get in the game. So some people will just basically take advantage if you are stupid enough with your money to just kind of like, give it away really freely to whoever it is without trying to build an actual relationship, which is the actual thing you want to get out of buying a feature. If you are buying a feature, you want to build a relationship with that person. That's going to go 10 times farther than if you just are sent the track, And then and at the end of the day, like a feature that has a vocal is probably better than some producer sending you a beat. If you got an actual specific custom feature, custom beat, that type of stuff. But ultimately, you just got to be careful because sometimes producers are just selling beats to just everybody. And if you're just kind of new, chances are you're probably not as good as whoever it is that they're working side by side with. I think anyone can realize that, but you just got to be careful. You want to be trying to build relationships. That's the biggest thing, is relationships. And as far as like an organic following goes and stuff like that, you just got to realize that it's not always about how many followers that you have in particular, because a lot of the time people gain that stuff like being popular in high school and being popular just in whatever way. And that just happens of itself. You may or may not have that. But at least I know for me personally, my influence in the game goes much further than just like how many followers I have on my social media right now. My influence in certain people's lives. If I have 1,000 followers, there's at least 3 of those people whose lives I have changed completely. And that's something that not everybody who has a lot of followers have. And that's why you shouldn't, buy fake followers, which is why, you probably know that because you create an organic following with your stuff. You create an organic following of people watching your Instagram. And I think that is way better than just having the appearance of having a lot of followers.
You're not fooling anybody with it most of the time.
Period. I think everybody can tell, when you have like comments from people from like India and like and there's like no